It's one of the biggest days of the NBA calendar, a pivotal point around the league, and maybe for your Miami Heat, will they make a trade or add a key young contributor? We go through a mock draft and some hypothetical trades to get you ready for draft day on today's edition of Locked On Heat.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. I'm Wes Goldberg here with David Ramil. However you might be tuning in on YouTube, Odyssey, your favorite podcast app. Thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. All right, a new concept here, so bear with me. All right, we're going to try something new here. It's kind of going to be two shows in one. First show, mock draft, picks 1 through 18. Who are the Miami Heat going to take on Thursday night's NBA draft? We're going to get there. So that's the first show, pretty straightforward. The second show that we're going to be doing at the same time, basically, is fake trades involving the Miami Heat and every team choosing ahead of them in the NBA draft. So I thought it would be fun because people love mock drafts, people love fake trades. We're combining the two concepts. But more importantly, David, it's a way for you and I to share what it is that we've been hearing, talking with people around the league about what's going to happen tonight and what's going to happen maybe even this offseason, just some of the things that have been buzzing and going around. So let's just jump right in. Number one pick, no drama. Victor Wembanyama goes to the San Antonio Spurs. Here's my fake trade involving the Miami Heat and the Spurs. Okay, are you ready? So people, this is how people hopefully understanding how this is going. All right. Miami gets Doug McDermott and Zach Collins, and the Spurs get Kyle Lowry. And I love this for the Spurs because you're bringing Victor Wembanyama in. If you can have a legit like pick and roll, pick and pop partner with him and Kyle Lowry, you could show him the ropes. Would love to be coached by Greg Popovich. I'm sure Kyle Lowry would if he was going to go anywhere. Kind of be the veteran on that team that they don't really have to kind of bring Victor Wembanyama in. And if there's an organization in the entire league that appreciates what veterans can do for young players, it's the San Antonio Spurs. That much we know for sure. And then on Miami's side, you get a shooter like McDermott, and then you get a guy like Zach Collins, who they liked in the pre-draft process. I think he kind of fits that Kelly Olynyk, Myers Leonard, Kevin Love kind of tall white guy who could shoot threes mold.
I'm not sure about the threes, but yeah, I mean, tall white guy certainly fits the bill. But he's got a little more athleticism. I like the potential of him because he's cheap and I think he's still young. He's gone through some nagging injuries and things of that sort. I know you like.
Yeah, both of them are expiring contracts.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes a lot of sense for Miami. It's a good deal. I mean,
he's a 34% 3-point shooter. Why'd you say he can't shoot threes?
I don't think he shoots them very often. What's the volume on that?
It's like 2 a game. I mean, he's a center, and he barely got any playing time in Portland.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I mean, there's a mid-range shot there. He's got a little bit more pop around the basket. And I think Miami would find a way to maximize him there. So that's the key addition for Miami is that another chance to add a young, big body because they're probably going to lose Omer Yurtseven. They're probably not going to try to re-sign Cody Zeller, et cetera. So you're going to already have a thin front court as it is. So why not add somebody through a draft day trade? So I don't know. From San Antonio's perspective, do they prioritize getting that kind of veteran presence in Kyle? We'll see.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why it's a fake trade. But you get
no doubt
2 expiring contracts with McDermott and Collins, and then Heat save $8 million also, which I think I like here. And if you're the Spurs, you've got tons of cap space that you're not going to like. They're not going to use this cap space unless they're taking on unwanted salary. Maybe they ask for a pick in that deal. I don't know. I think Lowry actually would provide quite a bit of value to them, and it doesn't like McDermott and Zach Collins don't do anything for them, especially after drafting Wembanyama, right? So, I don't know. I like the trade for both sides. All right, second team, second mock draft, second trade. Charlotte. Here's where the drama really begins. It sounds like all the reporting right now is that the Hornets are going to take Brandon Miller. I like Brandon Miller fine. I love Scoot Henderson. I don't get it, but whatever. More power to you, Charlotte. You're in the same division as the Miami Heat. Go ahead and screw this up. Take Brandon Miller. Again,
screw this up again. Like they've screwed up the draft a number of times already. I mean,
Michael
Jordan, team building, not exactly something you put together in the right sentence.
selling the team, by the way, while this draft is happening, to who was a minority stake owner in the team, is now buying out Michael Jordan's shares. So Michael Jordan is going to be still part of the team as a minority stakeholder, while the old minority stakeholder is the now majority stakeholder, or will be, depending on when this goes down. So who's really the owner in charge of this draft is a very interesting question happening in Charlotte right now.
With the latest report is that he's still going to get veto power over or final say in the draft selection process. So
for this draft or going forward?
For this draft.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is. Good for Charlotte, I guess. Have fun with
No.
Brandon Miller. I think by the way,
Charlotte, yeah.
Nothing against Brandon Miller. I think Brandon Miller's going to be a good player. He fits today's NBA, 6'8", long wing, who could handle the ball, shoot the ball, play great defense. I think Brandon Miller's going to be a very good player. But I'm not passing up on Scoot Henderson if it was up to me. But it's not. It's up to Michael Jordan, apparently. All right. Here's my trade. Miami gets Kai Jones, their backup center that they drafted a couple years ago and never used.
Yeah.
James Bouknight, their backup guard that they drafted a couple years ago and never used.
Ooh.
And our friend Cody Martin. And the Hornets get Duncan Robinson. So the Hornets get a guy who makes sense for what they want to do with LaMelo Ball, get up and down. You want LaMelo to have somebody that could shoot threes. Currently, they have nobody that does that outside of Terry Rozier, who could barely get on the court for them sometimes. And by the way, plays the same position as LaMelo Ball. So you get Duncan Robinson. I think he'd be a very good fit for what they're trying to do there. And for Miami, you get to take a flyer on 2 lottery picks in Kai Jones and James Bouknight. You get to bring in Caleb's twin brother, Cody Martin, into the fold. Cody Martin, who spent the entire playoffs being around the Miami Heat, and you could tell he loves him some Heat culture. I'm sure he would love this kind of deal. And moreover, you're taking flyers on some low end players, but you're getting off the Duncan Robinson salary. You're saving some money, and you're getting like these kind of chunky salaries that are either going to expire sooner than Duncan Robinson's, or could be used in other moves where you can kind of stack up salaries and things like that. I honestly don't love it, but this one was hard to figure out. The Charlotte one was hard to figure out.
Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know how much Cody wants to move on from that situation, but the chance to play with his brother, I guess, is probably a pretty high one. And he does like the Heat culture and everything else like that. I'm sure he's heard nothing but great things from Caleb, and the chance to continue to play together on the same team and compete for something, which is not something he was able to do in Charlotte. Has yet to taste the playoffs in the NBA. So I think he would certainly welcome a trade to Miami.
Let's get to the meaty part. Let's get to the meaty part of this.
Yeah. All right. I was going to say departing from J. Cole is a little tougher. But
there's been enough J. Cole talk for me in my life. J. Cole overrated. And if people want to shut this podcast off, go ahead. I can't get through a J. Cole song, man. It is so
you have
boring.
Alienated half the Heat roster. You've alienated half. Forget a one-on-one with Bam.
It makes me fall asleep, man. It makes me fall
asleep.
Oh,
Lord. Now you're trying to do it on purpose. Oh, okay. Man, that guy was. He gave Miami Caleb Martin.
No, first of all, that report was so overstated. Caleb Martin worked out for the Miami Heat twice
because of J. Cole and his connection.
It was such an overblown thing. They had let's get to the meaty part of this podcast. Portland, what are they going to do? All right. Well, if Scoot Henderson is on the board, they're taking Scoot Henderson. There have been people much closer to the Portland Trail Blazers than either of us reporting that. It seems like, first of all, why wouldn't you take Scoot Henderson? Same question I asked Charlotte. They don't care. Portland is going to get a guy who could have gone number 1 last year probably, and would probably go number 1 next year and maybe even the year after that, David. Scoot Henderson is that kind of prospect. And Portland, moving up from 5, their pre-lottery position, to 3, have a chance to get this kind of generational talent. Now, let's also remember that when Damian Lillard and Trailblazers general manager Joe Cronin made statements about, hey, we are going to do whatever we can to build a veteran supporting cast around Lillard so we can win now, that was before they moved up in the draft. That was before the lottery. Things have changed in Portland, and I think that much is obvious. Portland's going to take Scoot Henderson unless there's some crazy offer that they just cannot refuse on the table. They are taking Scoot Henderson at number 3. What happens next? We got the report today from Woj that the Trailblazers have been turning down any calls about Damian Lillard. And my response to that is, of course they are. Because they haven't made the number 3 pick yet, and they have no idea what's going to happen. And if the Milwaukee Bucks call up and say, we'll give you Giannis for the number 3 pick, then they're going to take that and Damian Lillard stays in Portland. That is not going to happen, obviously, but that you kind of understand what I'm saying here. I think that if they take Scoot Henderson, it's too good to pass up. You can't trade this pick for – I love Pascal Siakam. You can't trade this pick for Pascal Siakam. You can't trade this pick for OJ Anunoby. You can't trade this pick for Mikal Bridges. You can't trade this pick if Scoot Henderson is on the board for a whole lot of what's in the NBA right now. And so it just makes sense that we're heading to a point where they're going to take Scoot and they're going to say, look, we couldn't turn this down. He's that good of a talent. Lillard knows Scoot Henderson. They've been in contact. He knows what kind of talent he is. He's probably going to understand that. But then the ball's going to be in his court. And they're going to say, what do you want to do? Do you want to hang around?
That's also being
or do
a
you want
little
us to trade him?
overstated. It's also being a little overstated. The kind of connection between, like, one report is like they've been in connection with each other. They've been in contact with each other. Another video interview was Scoot basically saying, yeah, it was great to see him at the workout and he dapped me up. And that's the extent of their conversation.
It does not mean that Damian Lillard wants to play with Scoot Henderson, and that's the way a lot of people are taking it.
He might be calling him to tell him, "Hey, this is what you got to learn when when you play for Chauncey, because I'm on my way out, and you're going to be here, so this is what you got to figure out."
Well, we see veteran players. Lillard's going to be 33 at the end of next month. Like, veteran players tend to take care of the next generation, especially when they recognize their game. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's happening here with Damian Lillard and Scoot Henderson. So yeah, it has zero meaning behind, like, Lillard and Scoot Henderson want to play together. That is not what anybody should be reading into those reports. So I do think we're heading towards a place where Damian Lillard is going to have to ask the Portland Trail Blazers for a trade. And like I said yesterday, I know that it's been out there that Lillard would like to play for Miami or maybe like to play for Brooklyn if he wasn't playing for Portland. My sense is that if we get to the point where Lillard requests a trade, that Miami would be the preferred destination over Brooklyn, because Miami is ready to go right now in terms of winning a championship. And as much as we might like the Brooklyn Nets roster, and I do like the Nets roster, you can't add a Damian Lillard into that and expect them to be favorites in the East. But you put Lillard with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, those are the favorites in the Eastern Conference. And Lillard knows that, right? And the Heat know that too. And so I think we're getting to that point. So here's my trade. Here's my trade idea. Miami gets Damian Lillard, obviously, and Yusuf Nurkic. Now, don't cringe just yet. Portland gets Kyle Lowry, Tyler Herro, Victor Oladipo, and 3 first-round picks. Why? Now, I have no idea if this is what the trade could or would look like, but I'm throwing it out there because Brooklyn has those 11 first-round picks that they could trade. One way to entice Portland's front office to be like, look, we understand you can get more picks from Brooklyn and probably better picks too from Brooklyn because we're always good because we're the Miami Heat. What if we took Nurkic off your hands? Would it make it easier for you to swallow the deal and turn down a Brooklyn Nets deal if it was offered in that way? That could be maybe some sort of sticking point for me.
I like it.
Yeah. And I would do it, by the way. I would swallow the Nurkic contract and you're like, all right, we've dealt with bad contracts before. We'll figure it out.
I think, look, between his injury and the crap that he's had to deal with in Portland, there's potential there. And I think they like a guy who has that kind of attitude. He's certainly confident. He wanted to be the starter over Nikola Jokic. And, that's the kind of confidence he had when he was member of the Denver Nuggets. So I think it'd be a good fit here. They like those type of personalities in Miami. They just need to get him to understand that he needs to make a full-time commitment. That's the problem, though. With Nurk, he likes to get after it, and I don't know if the South Florida, let's say, extracurricular activities might be too much for him to turn away. But that's a chance Miami might be willing to take if they can get Dame Lillard on the roster.
Could the Miami Heat move up in the draft? We're going to talk about that next here on Locked On Heat. Today's episode of Locked On Heat is brought to you by Bird Dogs, and the pitch is simple. Bird Dogs make you look good. Bird Dogs stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of stiff, restricting cotton. Instead, Bird Dogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Plus, Bird Dogs uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. I love my bird dogs, and in the summer, you need a few go-to pairs of shorts. Mine are bird dogs. They sent me the gray pair that I've been really enjoying lately. Goes with every color t-shirt that I own, so that's great. You can get them too. All you have to do, go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA and enter the promo code LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti-style tumbler. I'm actually drinking out of it right now. Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Everydayers, make sure that you tune in tonight after the draft when David and I will be breaking down what the Heat do at number 18. And, of course, we'll be reacting to any trades that might take place. So make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. All right, let's go through these a little bit quicker, David. Houston, number 4. They pick Amen Thompson out of the OT Elite thing. Here's the trade. The Rockets get Miami's number 18 pick, and the Heat get a future first rounder via Brooklyn. So Houston has some of those Brooklyn picks from the James Harden trade way back then. Why do they do this? Why do the Heat do this? Well, the Heat can trade their 2023 first, 2027, and 2029 as long as they lift protections on that OKC pick. But if they want to keep a future first for after the draft, they could trade this pick for a future pick potentially. And I wonder if Houston would be amenable to that because they're trying to add talent now and all these things. They got a ton of future firsts. They want to get good now under Ime Udoka. So I don't know. It's just it's a thought because I think Miami's pick would have more value if they can't engage with Portland or any other team for a star on draft night. Do you just kick the can down the road and say, hey, let's just trade this 18th pick? Because if we use this pick, now even the player that we take there, even though he's never played an NBA basketball game, has less value than sort of the future pick later. So that's the trade I came up with Houston.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I know you're trying to figure it out, but
the Rockets are tough, man.
Yeah.
I just wasn't interested in Kevin Porter Jr.'s contract.
Kenyon Martin Jr. I think that's the one that everybody would like here. Is he still under contract?
He is under 1 year. The only thing that makes sense though is a Haywood Highsmith swap, and that I think you'd rather have Highsmith than Kmart Jr.
I don't know.
So
I don't know about that. Yeah. Oh, that's an option.
Number 5, Detroit. They take Jarris Walker. He seems to be moving up draft boards lately, so that might be a little bit of a stretch for some, but sounds like the Pistons like him. Here's the trade. Miami gets Big Stu, Isaiah Stewart, and 3 second-round picks. And the Pistons get Victor Oladipo and the 18th pick in the draft. So Isaiah Stewart is up for an extension. The Pistons have James Wiseman and Jalen Duren. They can move up to 18 with a few second-round picks. They get out of having to pay Isaiah Stewart. The Heat get a front court partner potentially with Bam Adebayo or somebody who at least theoretically fits next to Bam. And the Heat save $4 million.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Good with it?
I mean, I don't know, but I think, you're not getting anything out of Oladipo. Stewart's okay. I mean, I like that intensity, but I don't think he really brings all that much other than, look, he kills Miami in all fairness.
Good rebounder, versatile-ish defender. He can shoot threes.
Yeah.
Kind of like it.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Orlando, number 6. They take Asar Thompson, Amen Thompson's twin brother, and here is the trade. Miami gets Gary Harris and Orlando gets Duncan Robinson. The Heat save $5 million. I don't love it, but that's all I can come up with.
Harris is a good three-point shooter.
Okay.
A little
He's
smaller.
Yeah.
No, he's not Duncan Robinson. Yeah, he's not that kind of shooter, and he's had some injury issues in the past. But he's a good vet. He's looking for a good opportunity. He's like he's a nice player, but not
an expiring contract too.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. I don't think Orlando or Miami would do that, for the record, but it's what I could come up with. All right, Indiana Pacers take Taylor Hendricks. Go Knights. The trade is Miami gets Buddy Hield and the 29th pick in this. Oh, wait, no, didn't they just trade that one? Whichever one is the one they didn't trade, the 26th pick or whatever. That's what the Heat get. The Pacers get Duncan Robinson and number 18. So the Heat upgrade from Duncan to Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's also on an expiring, but they have to move down in the draft to do it.
So what's the benefit for Indiana then?
Moving up to 18.
Okay.
And they know Buddy Hield's not resigning there, probably. So
Yeah, but do
So
they
you
want
get
to take
Duncan
on
Robinson.
Duncan's?
Probably. You don't get, if you're the Pacers, you're not like getting free agents. I think Duncan Robinson fits next to Halliburton and Benedict Mathurin. There's a lot of 3-point shooting. They want to take threes.
Oh, yeah. Former JJ Redick podcast co-host, right? I mean, that's they're all part of that network, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Hey, who
sure,
else
I could
was?
see it. Who?
Who are you talking about? Who's the other co-host?
Tyree? Yeah,
Halliburton? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know you did that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. He's been there. He's their correspondent. I don't know whatever that means. It doesn't matter.
Correspondent.
Yeah. That's basically was his title. And I know Duncan's going to be popular in Indiana for sure.
That's very true. Number 8, the Washington Wizards. They're going to select Anthony Black. That's my guess on the draft night. I like him for them. Word is that they like him. Here's the trade. Miami gets Chris Paul, and the Washington Wizards get Kyle Lowry and Nikola Jovic.
Oh,
the Wizards just traded Kristaps Porzingis to Boston for salary and picks.
Veto.
The Wizards are in the business of taking on expiring salary and getting young players or picks back. And if you're the Heat, you get Chris Paul. You don't like it?
No.
Why don't you like it?
I'm not. Is Paul substantially better than Kyle Lowry?
That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. And then you're sacrificing Jovic to boot? No, sorry.
I probably wouldn't do it either. But it's interesting. Chris Paul in Miami.
Nope.
I don't know.
No.
The Heat
Look,
circled
for
the
all the
wagons hard on Chris Paul when he was getting traded from OKC to Phoenix.
That was different. That was
3 years ago, too.
Yeah,
4 years ago?
That was a difference.
It was a while ago.
It was pre-Lowry. He would have been the piece to make the change at that point in time when Goran was struggling and everything else like that. And he had just gone through the plantar fascia issue. They were looking for a trade for that. I don't see any way that trade gets finished. But anyway, let's keep going here.
Utah has a surprise pick. They take Kobe Buffkin out of Michigan. And here's the trade. Your friend, Kelly Olynyk, is involved.
Yes.
Miami gets Kelly Olynyk. Utah gets Duncan Robinson and a future second-round pick. The Heat saves $6 million. And this is like the poor man's version of what the Celtics and the Wizards just did, where the Celtics moved a guard, where they had a little bit of redundancy for a front court player for a position of need for them. Kind of the same thing happening here with Miami and Utah. Miami moves a position of redundancy with Duncan Robinson, and then they bring in some front court help with Kelly Olynyk.
I had a trade for the Jazz as well.
Okay.
Kyle Lowry to Utah in exchange for Colin Sexton and Kelly Olynyk, and they swap picks. So for Miami to take on Sexton's contract, because I think he's
is that viewed as a negative asset at this point?
I think so. I think he wasn't even, he was coming off the bench, right? I don't think he's viewed as like a reliable player that they can continue to build on. He wasn't a part of what they were able to accomplish. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably overstating it to some, but every 3 years, $17.5 million per year. I could see them wanting to move off that contract. Olynyk is expiring, but you could probably buy out or just waive Lowry altogether and have him become a free agent. So it makes a lot of sense for Utah too.
Let's do one more before we go to break and finish up this mock draft hypothetical trade thing. Miami and Dallas. There's been some reports that Dallas really likes Derek Lively the second. Derek Lively the second really likes them. I had Grady Dick penciled into here, but then I saw all that stuff, so maybe it would be Derek Lively. Who knows? Whatever. Dallas takes one of them. Nobody cares. Miami gets Reggie Bullock, JaVale McGee, and the number 10 pick. And Dallas gets Victor Oladipo, the 18th pick, and our friend Caleb Martin. So the money there is exact. The Heat move up 8 spots, and they avoid having to pay Caleb in a year. They get Reggie Bullock, who can kind of do some of those things in terms of playing on the wing. He's on an expiring. You deal with the JaVale McGee thing, I guess. But more importantly, you move up 8 spots, and then maybe if you're the Heat, you get to take Grady Dick here, who would be a perfect fit for what it is that the Heat are trying to do. Pat Riley talking about, hey, we need shooting, ball handling, length, and versatility. That's Grady Dick. That's what he is. So, is it worth giving up on Caleb Martin to move up 8 spots and get him? That's the question.
That's a tough one. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. We love Caleb. We appreciate everything he's done here, but I just wonder. I don't know how much more room there is for him to grow, and I just wonder, especially after his performances in the postseason that were so inconsistent. He had that really great run, and then it's a comment that Pat Riley made yesterday. Like as the playoffs continue, people start to figure out what it is he can do. I wonder how realistic it'll be to expect Caleb to take a leap next year the way he did this season. And as much as he was an impactful player and a great player, if you can make some changes and still keep, you can add some depth there with Bullock and McGee, and you can get a draft pick as well. I don't mind the trade.
And you reset the salary structure part of it too, because like I said, Caleb's going to be up for an extension in a year. You're going to have to pay him more than what you're paying him now. And if you get Grady Dick, now you're immediately boom, reset it, rookie scale, contract extension stuff.
That's rough. That's rough.
There it is. So, all right, we have one more blockbuster coming up, David. We're going to do it next, but first, tell listeners about our sponsor.
For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, just head to eBay Motors. With eBay's guaranteed fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit, or you get your money back, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. So get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay's guaranteed fit, only available in to U.S. customers, eligible items only, and exclusions do apply.
Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Make sure to join us tonight after the draft, when David and I will be breaking down what the Heat do at number 18, and of course, be reacting to any trades that go down. So make sure you're subscribed to YouTube or your favorite podcast app. All right, we got a blockbuster coming up, but before we do that, let's go to the 11th pick. The Orlando Magic take Jalen Hood-Schifino. Love that pick for them. We already did an Orlando Magic trade, right? We did the Gary Harris, Duncan Robinson, so moving on. Oklahoma City at number 12 takes, I'm going to butcher this, and I'm sorry, Bilal Koulibaly, the French guy. Here's the fake trade. Miami trades a future second-round pick to lift those protections on the 2025 pick. So that's it. I know that everybody keeps talking about Miami's going to be able to trade that many picks once they lift protections, but it's going to cost them something, and we're kind of overlooking that part of it. The Heat can trade right now their 2024, 2027, and 2029 pick as long as they do lift those protections. Those protections are protected 1 through 14 in 2025 and then become unprotected in 2026. You give them a future second rounder. Maybe it's both. Miami has 2 of them. Maybe it takes both of them. Whatever it is, do it. Lift the protections on that 2025 pick. So that becomes unprotected. And now you're able to trade that 2027 pick. So that's
I've got Victor Oladipo going to OKC along with a future pick. Probably lottery protected first rounder, and Kenrich Williams coming back to Miami.
I don't know if that's worth it for Kenrich. I like Kenrich Williams. I was trying to figure out like a Kenrich Williams deal. He makes a lot of sense for Miami in terms of length.
He doesn't make a lot of sense in Oklahoma City. So for Oklahoma City, we saw them do that. They've done it a number of times. They took Derek Favors. They took Al Horford when everybody thought his career.
As long
was
as they
done.
can get a pick back. But if you're Miami, the opportunity cost of losing a first round pick, if you're trying to make like a Damian Lillard,
but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. That's why you protect it the way you do. Because first of all, Miami entering the lottery seems unlikely, especially if you're adding pieces to this core.
But it's still one less pick that you have to trade.
It's a pick that you probably wouldn't convey though. Like it probably would never convey.
What? So it'd be protected, one like lottery protected, and then if it doesn't convey, it would just become like a second-round pick the next year.
For Oklahoma City, they're at a point where they can't handle as many picks as they have anyway. So it's just basically to unload.
But you still wouldn't be able to trade it. You still wouldn't be able to trade that pick now, even if it doesn't convey later. You see, you know what I mean? Wow. So I don't know. I like the idea of Kenrich Williams, but kind of taking a pick off of the table for like a future pick off the table to use now in a trade. I don't know if Kenrich Williams is worth that. So
maybe your only chance at improving this roster. Subtle moves, Wes. Subtle moves.
Toronto at number 13 takes Jordan Hawkins, the sharpshooter out of UConn. And here's the trade. I promised you a blockbuster.
Oh, Toronto, huh?
Miami gets Pascal Siakam. Toronto gets Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin, and 2 first-round picks.
Ooh.
do you do it? Knowing that this would be the move. This would be it. This would be the move. This would be your only.
It's just Siakam straight up. Nothing else. No future pick or anything like that.
No, maybe you can wrangle a future second rounder out of him, but this is basically the trade. I think it's a fair trade. I don't know that Miami would do it.
I don't know either. I really don't. On the surface, it seems okay. I mean,
you would have to know Damian Lillard's not happening.
Right.
That's the only way you could do this trade.
And again, the sacrifice of Caleb. Yeah, I mean, the sacrifice of Caleb is knowing again you probably won't be able to re-sign him in a year.
Yeah, and I love Caleb Martin, but he's not as good as Pascal Siakam. Siakam's got 1 year left at like $36 million. So you're going to have to figure out some sort of extension now or feel comfortable about re-signing him next summer. You would obviously retain his bird rights since you were getting him in a trade. So that there's no issue there. But I like Siakam. I'm pretty sure he's not a number one scorer on a championship team. I think we know that. He's a borderline all-NBA guy. He addresses your issues in the front court. He is an ideal partner next to Bam Adebayo. He is switchable defensively. You're not sacrificing anything on that end. And offensively, he can get you buckets and he can space the floor. He can even run some offense for you. But I don't know. I don't know that that's the trade that puts me over the top. I don't know that makes me feel like better in the Eastern Conference than maybe some other marginal moves that could be done. But that's the blockbuster I came up with. Number 14, the New Orleans Pelicans take Cam Whitmore, who slides. Miami, here's the trade. Miami gets Larry Nance Jr. and a 2024 first-round pick, either from the Lakers or Milwaukee. The Pelicans they have both of them. So basically Miami gets to pick. The Pelicans get Victor Oladipo in this year's number 18 pick. So they trade their current first-round pick at number 18 for a future first-round pick. And then they upgrade from Victor Oladipo's expiring contract to Larry Nance Jr., who could play next to Bam in the front. You'll be a little undersized still, but Larry Nance, at least theoretically, could play
better
next to
fit.
Bam.
Yeah, better fit. I like Nance. I mean, he's such a okay complementary player that he's been traded to everywhere from Portland, Cleveland, New Orleans. Like he's already been a journeyman even in his relatively short career. But he's smart. He knows how to fit alongside pretty much anybody. He's a great teammate. Everybody has nothing but great things to say about Lance Jr. I like the deal. That's, again, sacrificing Caleb, but I understand.
No Caleb. Victor Oladipo.
No Caleb? Oh, Victor. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Oladipo.
Yeah, it's just Oladipo and 18 straight up for Nance and a future first rounder. Yeah. And the other part I like about it, too, is you're upgrading at a spot because Victor Oladipo might not even play for you next year. And any team that trades for Victor Oladipo is probably waving and stretching them. And then if you're the Pelicans, you get to add a new player now.
Right. And
you're trading a first round pick that doesn't really mean anything to you anyway, whether it's the Lakers or Milwaukee, because you still have your own pick in 2024. And the Pelicans have a ton of these first rounders. And you get off the Larry Nance contract if you're trying to do that, if you're the Pelicans, to kind of create some more flexibility to build around potentially Zion Williamson as long as they don't trade him. And if you're the Heat, you get a guy who makes sense for your team. So and you don't have to use this 18th pick, and you maintain a future first rounder to use in any other kind of trade. So that's the kind of deal that makes sense to me, where you could do this and still trade for Damian Lillard. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing here that prohibits you from also doing the Lillard deal. All right, Atlanta picks at number 15. I have them taking Kason Wallace. The trade is Miami Heat get John Collins.
No way. You think they're looking to trade him? I can't. It's only been like 4 seasons of him being traded, so I mean, I'm curious. Anyway,
they throw Garrison Matthews in the deal. Atlanta gets Duncan Robinson and Victor Oladipo's expiring. We've talked about the John Collins thing enough. Everybody knows how I feel about that at this point. Here's my question to you. There's been some scuttle that the Hawks have offered DeAndre Hunter to the Indiana Pacers for the 7th pick. The Pacers are picking at 7. I don't know that I would do that necessarily if I'm in Indiana, depending on who's there. If it's like a guy like Taylor Hendricks, go Knights, like maybe I'd rather have him on a rookie scale than DeAndre Hunter at $20 million a year. If you're Miami at number 18, would you trade 18 for DeAndre Hunter? And for the record, I am not reporting that is even on the table or that would be even enough for Atlanta. You're not getting the 15th pick from Atlanta. It's just the number 18 pick and maybe Duncan Robinson for DeAndre Hunter. That would probably be the deal. Would you do that?
it would have to be the first of another move. Like you had to free up something. I mean, again, you're losing a lot of shooting there. You're probably going to lose out in Max Strus. I would say if that's the case, then you'd have to explore one of those other trades that we've talked about regarding Caleb Martin. Then, because again, I think there'd be a redundancy and at a pretty high cost as well. But yeah, it's worth kicking the tires on.
Number 16 is Utah. We already did them for trades in terms of who they pick. I have them taking Jet Howard here, which would be a blow to the Miami Heat because we know that the Miami Heat would, of course, be interested in Jet Howard for obvious reasons. Beyond just the Juwan Howard connection, also that Jet Howard is a very good three-point shooter, movement shooter. Adam Spinella this Wednesday morning broke it down really well. Just fits exactly what Miami's system is. And then on top of that, Pat Riley talking about wanting length and versatility on the wing. That's what Jet Howard is. He's like 6'7", 6'8", can shoot. There's potential there to add more to his offensive game. So that would be a blow to Miami if Utah takes Jet Howard, but I think he also makes a lot of sense for them. The Lakers take Derek Lively the second here, who slides, makes sense for them as a backup center. Here's the trade. The Miami Heat get Mo Bamba, and the Lakers get Victor Oladipo and Haywood Highsmith.
I don't want to sacrifice Haywood Highsmith for Mo Bamba.
You know what? I know you're kind of joking in saying that, but I agree.
No, I'm not. I don't like Mo Bamba, his game at all. I think there's this idea between him and Bull. It's like, oh, these unicorns. It's like, no, neither of them are ever going to be healthy enough to actually be impactful. And that's just what happens when you have these extraordinary sizes. Like, I know that no one's going to pass up on Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs are certainly not there. But I would not be surprised, and I hate even putting this out there into the fabric of the universe, but I cannot envision a world where he stays healthy for a prolonged amount of time.
He's expiring, so you get that. But I don't know. I don't love it. Couldn't think of anything else to the Lakers. Most of their guys are free agents. So
Malik Beasley. I mean,
I was trying. Like, it's hard to figure out salaries. Like, would you do DeAndre? Would you do Malik Beasley for Duncan Robinson? If I'm the Lakers, the idea of having somebody under contract long term versus Beasley, who team option, 1 year left, maybe, but also maybe not. I don't know, because I don't know what LeBron's going to do in a year. So I don't know. All right, number 18, the Miami Heat take Marquette's own Olivier Maxence Prosper. I was sold on him by our friend Adam Spinella. I love the Marquette connection. Let's keep it going. If Jet Howard is not available, I think this makes a lot of sense for Miami. There's some other names that the Heat, I think, would be interested in here. There is some potential for them to trade down, like we talked about, maybe to 20 with Houston if a team like that is trying to move up. I think that's very much on the board, especially if Miami could pick up some other draft picks and future assets that they can use in another deal. I think them moving down is possible, depending on how the board shakes out, obviously, by the time you get to number 18. But for the sake of this exercise, I really like the fit of Olivier Maxence Prosper. Long wing, makes sense, kind of has that dog mentality that the Miami Heat love. That's who I have them taking here.
He's in the green room. Reported yesterday by Adrian Wojnarowski, I think, that he's going to be getting a spot in the green room for the NBA draft on Thursday. Also, one of the players that Miami has brought in for a workout, so they've seen him. That they're going to be keeping any response or feeling about that workout close to the vest. But obviously, once they bring you in for a workout, it's they think highly enough of you and whatever it is that you bring to the table. They'll do their due diligence. They've done their due diligence. If they're bringing you in, they've already checked what your personality is like. If you've got that dog mentality, they love that kind of work ethic. That's the kind of player they want. They did it with Tyler Herro. Nobody expected Tyler to be selected where he was, but Miami had brought him in. They'd seen enough, and they liked who he was as a player and as a person, and expected that kind of growth from him. So, yeah, all things point to Prosper if he's available. And we've heard.
Well, they never worked out Nikola Jovic, so I will say that there's a lot of reports about who you work out and who you don't work out. The workout thing is a little overblown. It matters. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Of course it matters. But it doesn't mean that you're only going to draft players who you worked out either. You know what I mean? So, but I agree with you. I think they really like OMP. I don't know. We'll work on that if we have. No? Okay. A couple other names just worth monitoring right around here. Brandon Podziemski. I know I'm ruining that. He's a wing out of Santa Clara. The Heat like him. The Heat also like Jaime Jaquez Jr. out of UCLA. So just a couple other names there to keep an eye on. Thursday night, David, the draft is here. I know a lot of our Locked On coworkers have been waiting for this day for a very long time. It feels like we literally just got here. We spent 2 days talking about the draft. That's it. Everything else has been Damian Lillard and
2 days too many.
You hate the draft.
It's just I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. Nobody else. Like,
That's fun.
That is not fun. That is.
You want to know what's going to happen? Why is that fun? We know Victor Wembanyama is going to go #1. We know that.
Yeah, and I just went on a limb and said he's probably not going to be a productive player in 5 years. I mean, I just don't see it happen. Yeah, that guy's going to get hurt. He's going to get beat up. He's been beat up already.
You hate teenagers. I can't don't like players that enter the league in the draft.
No, that is not true. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I have a problem with guys that are so unproven, and everybody's got this little. Oh, I can't wait and see the gamble prospect. It's
who's
ridiculous.
The last prospect? He's not. First of all, he's not a gamble. He's playing in the pro league.
He's a gamble
in France.
He weighs 185 pounds. Like that guy.
Have you seen him play?
Yes, and I've seen him get knocked on his ass by people that are going to be much smaller and a lot less physical than the NBA.
Who's the last prospect who you really liked?
LeBron
in the draft. Are you serious?
Maybe. Yeah, you know me. I remember having this argument with you and Ben Golliver about Zion Williamson. I'm right. I think a lot of it's overstated. Like Zion's hella talented. Sure, great, whatever. He's also, problematic in many ways.
LeBron is the last prospect that you were convinced by.
I'm sure there were others. I mean, I just can't. Again, I
what about Anthony Davis when he was coming out of Kentucky? He was.
He's okay. He's okay. He's okay. He's okay. I don't know. Like, I mean, are we like? No. We started hearing things about him being a head case and stuff like that. Look, he's in Minnesota.
Yeah,
I know.
Wow, Anthony Bennett? No.
Yeah. You see? You see? Come on. I think there are more.
Victor Wembanyama is.
I think there are more busts or
there's
players
always
than busts. I hate the term.
At #1, you don't really have busts at #1. Like, I don't even consider Zion a bust. I'm very high on Zion Williamson. I would gamble on him if I were a team, not the Miami Heat. Okay. I don't think he's a fit here.
So Bennett, Michael Olakandi, is that going too far?
It's way too far back. Yeah, no, I'm talking about like recently, like even since Anthony Bennett, there hasn't been a bust at #1.
Who are the last handful of #1 picks? I can't even recall them off the top of my head. Cat, yeah, I guess he's okay.
Cat's
he's
really
got game. He's a game changer.
Change the game. Change the game, man.
Did we talk about that already?
Yeah, you brought it up before. I think we did it a little bit. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Thanks for making Locked On Heat everydayers. Make sure to join us tonight after the draft when David and I will be breaking down what the Heat do at number 18. And of course, we will be reacting to any trades that go down. Draft night, it's a big surprise, and it is a pleasure for most people who like the NBA. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. David, thanks for joining me. Talk to you later.
Absolutely. Yeah.